Hello and welcome to Granada Reports. Good to have you with us as we count down to Christmas.
Hello, on the programme this evening.
No more COVID restrictions before Christmas, but business people in our region say the Chancellor's £1 billion lifeline won't cover their losses.
He's given us this grant which really isn't going to touch the sides as far as the losses we've absorbed over the last couple of weeks, especially after not recovering from the first few waves of this pandemic.
A story of disability and disappointment, why a North West police force withdrew a conditional job offer to Rihanna.
3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
Blasting off into space, the mission from Liverpool University to unlock the secrets of ageing.
Throw your arms around the world at Christmas time.
Do they know it's Christmas? The Band-Aid remakes that's making a world of difference in Wigan.
And in the weather, as we gallop towards Christmas weekend, will it be a white one? All the details later in the programme.
Yes, lots coming up, but first, and the reaction in our region tonight to two major announcements from the government about COVID.
Boris Johnson said there'll be no new measures before December the 25th, though he didn't rule out taking action after that.
And that follows a very mixed response to the Chancellor's £1 billion handout to the hospitality industry. Some business people have told us the money won't go anywhere near covering their losses. The very latest from our reporter, Ralph Blunsom.
Some hospitality chiefs in the region say it's enormously welcome relief. Others say it only amounts to a bit of help. The sector has been calling for additional funding for firms which in some cases have seen a dramatic decline in custom over recent weeks. The roadmap ahead has been looking grim as a result of cancellations and reduced footfall, put down to people's fears and uncertainty over the spread of the Omicron variant. The Chancellor has announced details of a £1 billion fund.
Eligible hospitality companies will be able to claim a cash grant worth up to £6,000. Secondly, we're providing £30 million to top up our successful cultural recovery fund to support institutions like theatres and museums. And lastly, we're reintroducing our statutory sick pay rebate scheme so that small and medium-sized companies can claim compensation for the government for the costs of sick pay for their employees.
Response to the government announcement has been quick. The Liverpool Chamber of Commerce says it has given firms a breathing space.
I'm broadly satisfied that the Chancellor has been able to support the leisure and hospitality industry. It's something that we've been calling for over the course of the past week, and it's much overdue support. Whether it's sufficient to tackle all the issues that the business community is facing remains to be seen. But
critics say the money is a drop in the ocean. This Manchester business owner says it does not appear to clear away many of his financial issues.
He's given us this grant which really isn't going to touch the sides as far as the losses we've absorbed over the last couple of weeks, especially after not recovering from the first few waves of this pandemic. Really, if he'd said, and I pledge to repeat this support or increase this support, should we close you, just a little bit of forethought, a little bit of forward information would have been brilliant.
As business reacts to the government aid, the NHS continues its major vaccination drive. Here, a specialist nurse visits a patient's home near Chester.
The purpose of this is to vaccinate the housebound patients, so the people that can't normally get out to a clinic to receive their vaccination for the COVID or the flu vaccination as well. We're doing both while we're out and about.
How important is what you're doing?
It's absolutely vital. These are the most vulnerable patients in the community. So these people have carers coming in, they have family coming in, so it's vital that we actually look after these people and the people that look after them.
What's happening here today is being repeated by teams across Cheshire and Merseyside. It's part of a major push by the NHS to get as many people jabbed as possible. A new injection of financial help for the region's businesses and continuing vaccinations for all of us. Will it be enough? We all wait to see. Ralph Blunsom, ITV News.
Well, staying with COVID, and Manchester's New Year's Eve firework display has been cancelled because of the surge in Omicron cases. The City Council says it was a difficult decision, but they had to put the health of residents first. It's the second year in a row the event has been cancelled due to the pandemic. Now, disability campaigners have criticised a decision by Lancashire Police to withdraw a conditional job offer to a blind recruit.
Rihanna Parkinson was delighted to be offered the job to monitor the force's social media after getting through their recruitment process.
But that would turn to disappointment because the force's IT system wasn't compatible with the technology she needed for the role. Tim Scott has this report.
Rihanna Parkinson has been blind since birth. Last year, after passing the vetting and selection process, she was given a conditional offer of a job with Lancashire Police.
The job was a digital engagement officer, so in charge of sort of the police's social media and online presence and things like that. It was something I thought I was perfectly capable of doing because I've never had an issue using a computer or anything like that.
Like many blind people, Rihanna uses special voice software to access computers.
Lord Frost quit government due to disagreements over Plan B COVID restrictions.
Lancashire Police told Rihanna they would try to install similar software to enable her to use their computer systems, but Rihanna wasn't convinced the police understood her needs.
It was quite clear that they either hadn't listened to me or just really didn't understand what being blind meant, because one of the softwares they offered me was a software for dyslexic people that changes the colour of the font.
But you're blind?
Yeah.
Then, nearly a year after the conditional offer of the job, Rihanna was told Lancashire Police were withdrawing their offer as their IT systems were incompatible with the voice software she needed.
Rihanna, what's your opinion of the way you've been treated by Lancashire Police?
I think it's very discriminatory, and I think every step of the way the police have made excuses for themselves. Because one of the things they said to me was, oh, well, we are having our computer systems updated in 2023, maybe you could try reapplying then, which I just thought, it's a bit of a slap in the face, isn't it? And it came across as very patronising.
In a statement, Lancashire Police told us, the constabulary is committed to fulfilling all our obligations under the Equality Act and often seeks to exceed those standards in order to be an employer that values difference and is inclusive. In this case, after detailed exploration, it was determined it was not possible to make reasonable adjustments and, regretfully, it was not possible to make an offer of employment. Their conduct has been condemned by disability campaigners.
We hear it all too often. Disabled people don't get treated fairly. We don't get treated equally. Unfortunately, the law has this slight get-out clause of reasonable adjustment. And if you can make a good argument about why what you're doing is reasonable, it then becomes incredibly difficult for a disabled person.
There's been other job opportunities that have come up and I haven't applied because I've thought, you know, I've got a job, I just have to wait. And I moved house to be closer to work. It's had quite a big effect on my life, this.
Rihanna has been left hurt and angry at her treatment by Lancashire Police. She now plans to take her case to an employment tribunal. Tim Scott, ITV News, Lancaster.
Well, good luck, Rihanna, in future roles. Next, the family of a 10-year-old girl who was killed in a crash have said she had a smile that could light up the world. Lily Rose Morris died in hospital after the collision in Oldham 3 days ago. A second child remains in a stable condition in hospital. A 42-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of causing death by dangerous driving and driving under the influence. He's now been bailed.
OK, now for a quick look at what's coming up on the ITV News at 6:30 with Raggy.
The bailout for businesses hit by Omicron, cash grants for hospitality businesses in England suffering from cancellations. But could it still mean last orders for some? Nicola Sturgeon imposes new restrictions in Scotland from Boxing Day, and rules in Wales are tightened too. I'll have the details. And Britain's biggest ever divorce deal. The High Court orders the ruler of Dubai to pay his ex-wife and children over £500 million. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Now, I'd imagine most of us would like to know the secret of staying younger for longer, but what has that got to do with space?
Well, earlier today, a rocket blasted off from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, and on board, part of a major experiment involving Liverpool University into how human cells respond to being in space.
And that could help unlock the secret of ageing. And we're going to hear from one of the scientists in just a moment. But first, let's see the launch from earlier today.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
Liftoff. Cargo Dragon soars with the final supply run in 2021 for the astronauts aboard the International Space Station.
So the mission's heading for that International Space Station, which is orbiting the Earth. Those amazing pictures, courtesy of the UK Space Agency.
We spoke to Dr. Kai Hurtges from Liverpool University and asked him just what scientists hope to learn from this mission.
Our main interest is that we're actually comparing what happens with muscle loss in astronauts, which I think most people know about it. If astronauts go up to the International Space Station, they lose a lot of muscle mass over time. So their muscles weaken quite considerably, even though these astronauts actually do a lot of exercise. Nowadays on the ISS, the astronauts are expected to do about 2 hours of exercise a day. It doesn't seem to be only the effect of needing less muscles in space. They're still weakening if you do exercise. In old age, as we get more frail, even if we keep on exercising, we don't build the same amount of muscle anymore. So there are some really interesting parallels between one thing, astronauts, and the other thing, elderly people. So we're trying to work on working out what these things have in common. Aging studies on Earth can be really difficult because we got frail over a period of many, many years. So if it happens much quicker in space, but we've got similar biology, then we've got a very interesting model to study that and learn new science in a very compressed time frame.
So it's really important research. How exciting is it for Liverpool, and what's Liverpool's role in it?
Well, we've developed, for us, really, really exciting. It's our first one we're getting up there, so we're kind of relatively new at that. Our role is developing the science. So we came up with that science question of comparing aging and microgravity. We've developed the tissue culture model for that. So we're sending up little artificial muscles that are based on human cells. We developed also a lot of the monitoring technology around that. So up when they're in space, some of our muscles get exercised. So we're stimulating them so they're contracting. We keep a control group that doesn't. So we develop the technology to do the stimulation. And also some new technologies to actually monitor that these cells are happy up there in space. Because in a normal lab, we would have opportunities to look with a microscope how these cells are doing and check them on a daily basis. Up in space, they're sitting in a kind of small cartridge that doesn't get opened while it's up there, so nobody sees what's happening. So we developed some new monitoring techniques to use electrical signals to probe if these muscles are still behaving well, if they're contracting well while they're up in space.
It all sounds like a very exciting prospect. Do you think this research fundamentally could change lives in the future?
We hope that I think with research, every piece of research we're doing is a little puzzle piece that adds to a much bigger picture. And we're definitely hoping to get a few pieces out of this.
Yeah, Kai, your enthusiasm for this project is infectious, it's fair to say. Dr. Kai Hurtges, many thanks indeed for joining us this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Serious research, and Dr. Hurtges made a point of stressing the space agencies ensured the rocket stayed well away from Santa's route as he prepared for his busy night of deliveries.
Yeah, glad to hear it. Santa and his reindeers have a very busy few days ahead of them, haven't they? Now, for another of those exceptional people who work under the radar to make a big difference where they live.
Yes, we're opening door 21 of the Advent calendar of local heroes. And tonight we're featuring a mom from the Isle of Man.
Helen Walmsley set up a much-needed charity for parents who've been bereaved or whose children are poorly in hospital, whether on the island or in the UK.
My name is Helen Walmsley. I run Manx Children's Charity, A Little Piece of Hope. I lost my daughter, Hope Samara Walmsley, to stillbirth, and that was a really difficult experience. It was really tough at the time, and I wanted to give back to people who'd gone through the same thing as me. So I started off supporting bereaved parents and bereaved families, and then we've kind of grown from there, because in 2014 my youngest daughter Maisie, She became quite unwell, and there's not a lot of support around for families going through hospital visits, hospital stays. Financially, parents really struggle, especially when they're having to travel off island. They're not going to a local hospital all the time. So we ended up supporting families who are travelling with a weekly sum of money. We do hospital bags with essentials, something that families can take away with them or use at our local hospital when they go in with absolutely nothing in an emergency situation. We accepted nominations, and we've had 120 children nominated this year. We travelled across the island delivering gifts with Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus as well. Next year we want to continue our work, continue supporting and continue fundraising.
And staying with the Christmas giving theme in Wigan, a fab local band, the Lathams, who I spoke to during lockdown on Granada Introducing, have joined 10 other groups from across the town to record a well-known charity single.
It's Christmas time, there's no need to be afraid. At Christmas time, we let in light and we banish shade.
And in our world of plenty, we can spread a smile of joy. Throw your arms around the world at Christmas time.
Yeah, it's Band-Aids, Do They Know It's Christmas? And the Wigan version is raising money for the homeless charity The Brick. They say the number of people sleeping rough across Wigan has gone up 70% over the past year. Some great bands doing their bit to help.
Great voices there, and if you want more information about The Brick and that new single, it's on our website, itv.com/Granada.
Now, John Thompson is a household name as both a comedian and an actor, and has done his best to keep us entertained in and out of lockdowns.
He certainly has. He's starred in comedies like The Fast Show, films like 24-Hour Party People, and of course Cold Feet.
Well, now he's turning his hand to musicals after his stint on The Masked Singer, and he's in his first professional musical, Hairspray, at the Winter Gardens in Blackpool. West End star Brenda Edwards joins him on stage.
Our entertainment correspondent Caroline Whitmore caught up with them both during their vocal warm-up.
John and Brenda, we're here at the Winter Gardens in Blackpool. You're in Hairspray. This is your debut musical, John. Who better to learn from Brenda?
Oh yeah, what a voice, eh? Amazing. She blows me away every night. She's brilliant. Oh yeah. We're just on stage, but behind at the back, so you can just watch anything whenever you want. You know, and I'll watch it.
Well, it's Wardrobe Village, so
that's what it's called. Yeah. Sounds like an advert. Come to Wardrobe Village, 50% off.
I want to go to Wardrobe Village.
It's where everyone sits in a row and all your costumes are stacked up in order, so it's a quick, quick change area.
We've all known John for like over 30 years. Who knew he could sing? What advice have you given him for this this debut of his?
Well, my thing is you just got to project, and you know, even if something doesn't go quite right, it's wrong and strong. It's
like that.
There you go.
There you go.
What you call live theatre, darling.
I love that.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, the timing couldn't have been better.
So release me.
I was so surprised at your voice when you were performing as Bush Baby. And obviously you had the big head. Is it a little bit more daunting now without the Bush Baby?
This is much easier.
Is it?
The thing about that was, I did pick big songs, like Tom Jones, a big song, because I can do impressions. The idea to do a sort of Elvis Presley kind of thing, you know, for that was kind of like, there was a bit more masquerade to it. But the Bush Baby thing, probably the hottest, loneliest job I've ever done.
Oh.
So I'm hairy anyway.
Thank you for showing us.
So that's all right. It's growing back now. I've just played a wrestler and it was all shaved off, and I was spray tanned and tattooed.
Beautiful.
So yes, that's Deep Heat coming out on ITV soon. My natural hair, then foam latex body, and the heat was just unbelievable.
My parents begged me to run away with the circus.
Hairspray is about a young girl called Tracy Turnblad who wants to be famous. She doesn't understand why people can't be integrated. You've got the blacks and you've got the whites, and everything is set in 1962 Baltimore, where there was no integration.
You can't stop the beat, it's so fast. There's so many moves. So many. It's just like, my daughter came last night, she went, 2 notes, Dad. You fluffed the lines in Thomas to me. I went, you're right, I did. And she went, you're 1 behind.
You look incredible.
Thank you. It's called the Ashley Banjo, strictly the real full Monty diet.
Design?
I recently did strictly the real full Monty because I went through stage 3 breast cancer, and this is 5 years that I'm cancer free. So yes, Ashley Banjo. He's like, right, and again, oh sorry, and again. And I've literally lost 1.5 stone.
Great to see you here in Blackpool.
We're here till January the 2nd.
Thank you so
having
much.
fun, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Oh, love him.
Looks like an awesome show.
It does. They're having a ball.
Emma's got the weather.
He's cooked up a storm and now he's going to scrape the fat into the bin instead of the sink. My guy.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hang on, was that fish?
Hello there. Well, it was a winter solstice today, the shortest day, the longest night, the start of astronomical winter. But on the upside, it does mean that the days will start to stretch out a bit more after today. Talking of which, well, the high pressure just about hung in today, but a big change is on the way tomorrow. It starts to pull away and it will turn unsettled for a time. But we think by Christmas weekend could be quite dry, fine and chilly, but there are still some question marks over that at the moment. So here is the area of high pressure. You can see it starting to wane, pulling away to the continent, but the cold air to the north is never too far away. However, the high gives way to a succession of frontal systems and some slightly milder air from the southwest, so lots more unsettled weather pushing through. But we do think at the moment that the models hold the rain just to the south of us on Christmas Day and Boxing Day, so it should be mostly dry, fine and bright at that point, if a bit drizzly and unsettled before. As we head into the evening and the overnight period, dry with clear spells of widespread frost, as you can see. A bit cloudier across the Isle of Man, that'll hold your temperatures up there, and only light winds. Sun's up tomorrow at 8:27, and we'll probably see more sunshine than we have for the last few days. A chilly start to the day, then clouding over from the west later with the arrival of the first frontal system. There will be some patchy rain on that. We probably won't see it really till later in the afternoon and maybe after dark, but of course the Isle of Man will see it first, as you can see there. A chilly old day tomorrow, and then for Thursday, cloudy with some outbreaks of rain, but much milder temperatures, as you can see, with this influx of systems from the southwest. For Friday, this is, of course, is Christmas Eve. It's still going to be feeling fairly mild. There'll be some drizzly rain, especially over the hills in the morning before outbreaks of rain move in later. For Saturday, bright and fine, and there's your outlook. In summary, the way it looks at the moment for Christmas weekend. Bye-bye.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Bob! Emmy!
Emma, thank you very much. And that is it for tonight.
Yeah, Emma making me feel underdressed tonight. And I'm back with an update after news at 10. But we are going to leave you with those stunning pictures of the Earth as seen from the International Space Station. What an incredible reminder of the wonderful beauty of our planet.
Yeah, no lockdown up there. A very good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.